home, it was a big change in the law coming from the state Supreme Court. Well, now that simple possession of hard drugs in this state is legal, law enforcement and prosecutors are scrambling to figure out how it will impact their operations moving forward.
The court decided the current law was unconstitutional because it didn't require prosecutors to prove that a defendant knowingly had the drugs. One local mother says it's not just a headline for her, it is personal, and she's worried that the change will increase addiction. Q13's Hannah Kim shows us why.
It's hard to find memories like this when Matthew Dennis is smiling.
He was fighting opiate addiction for 23 years.
Mom Rose Dennis says Matthew got hooked at a young age, all because he was treated with opioids while battling cancer. The gripping addiction eventually leads Matthew to chase drugs on the streets, living in tents across Seattle for most of his adult life.
He still had a life to live, and he had so much to offer, and this was taken away from him way too soon. And no parent should have to lose a child, and losing a child under these circumstances is just horrible. It's heartbreaking.
Matthew used heroin up until he died this past January. Rose says doctors told her that her 35-year-old son died from kidney failure due to drug use.
I miss him. I will never see him again. And I did everything I could, my husband and I, to try to fix this problem. The triggers were there and the drug dealers were available.
Rose says it was shockingly easy for her son to obtain any and all drugs. She is very worried about the state Supreme Court's decision that now legalizes simple possession in Washington state.
I think it's just opening up the door for people to sell drugs. And the idea that drug dealers can just walk in the door and walk right back out is not helping our society. And you're going to see more people putting up tents and living on the sidewalks in Seattle.
She says addicts need treatment, not jail, but she is concerned that drug dealers will game the new system and make it harder for law enforcement and prosecutors to go after them.
We don't want people to think that we're going to give up on drug dealers. We're not. We're absolutely not going to stop prosecuting drug dealers.
But the King County Prosecutor's Office admits in some cases it may be harder to prove intent to sell. And because the courts left it open-ended, prosecutors are still hazy on the amount of hard drugs that is acceptable under the ruling.
We're still trying to figure it out.
As they navigate this new world, the King County Prosecutor's Office is also bracing for more overdoses.
The fentanyl problem is remarkable. It really is frightening.
Everything was taken away from him.
For this mother, the daily war against addiction is over, but only because it took her son's life.
I loved his hugs. I loved his smile. I loved the potential that he had in life that he wasn't able to pursue. Said he loved us and then he was sorry.
In Seattle, Hannah Kim, Q13 News.
King County had 435 overdoses from drugs and alcohol in 2019. And in 2020, that number increased to 538 overdose deaths.
So